Hey.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for you.
Whoa, boy, what's your question?
So, what do you think is better for a little homestead like us, the quail or the chicken?
Ooh, that's a good question. So, which is better, quail or chickens? Here, actually, will you be my camera lady today?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a really good question, and there's a lot of factors that come into this question. There's some similarities and there's some differences. So, let's say you had a small area, small homestead, small backyard, maybe even a balcony in an apartment building. If you have a very small area and you're thinking, do I want to do quail or do I want to do meat chickens, Cornish Cross chickens? Which is the better fit for your scenario? Well, let's talk about it because there's a lot of similarities, but there's some big differences. Let's go over here and let's talk about the differences of the two. All right, these jokers are running wild. Okay, so this right here, guys, is our DIY quail cage. So I built this, well, that's the water. So I built this cage from scratch. Everything I do here is all from scratch. I don't ever usually follow a plan. My wife is always enamored by that. I just kind of draw it on a napkin. But anyway, 10 foot long, 3 foot wide. It's actually an exact half scale of the meat mansion. So the typical space requirement for quail is one of the biggest upsells of quail. They don't require a lot of space at all. They don't require much. Now, with a pen like this, it's open, it's free range. The size requirements that I typically do are 1 to 4 or 1 to 5, so 1 male to 4 or 5 females. This is the remaining brood of what we have this season. We're going to dispatch these here coming up, and then we'll be done with these. But the biggest advantage to quail is the lack of space they need. I've seen people do these in even a dog crate. A dog crate, you could raise enough to feed your family for sure. Another benefit to quail is the feed. I mean, they eat next to nothing, I swear. We fill this feeder like once a month. Quail are the type of bird that they'll look at the food and gain weight. It's crazy. They eat nothing, scraps if you will. I come in here, I just have a free choice feeder in here. I stir it around like that. It's actually empty. I need to fill it up. They just emptied it out, ironically. So first advantages of quail: lack of space required, lack of feed bill that you need. In comparison to Cornish Cross. Now, Cornish Cross, let's go over here and take a look at those. Cornish Cross chickens or meat chickens, they don't require necessarily the same amount of space or a big amount of space, but they require a lot of moves. So this is where we keep our meat birds at. Now, this is a traditional chicken tractor. It's got a hinged front here. The birds, they reside on the inside. They have their food and their water in there. And so this is after 12 hours here. So the biggest thing with Cornish Cross when it comes to space is they don't need a lot of space to walk around because they're not very flighty birds or mobile birds. They like to hang out, but they create a lot of waste. They create a lot of waste. So the reason you use a chicken tractor is because you move it every day. So every day, this chicken tractor, you can see on the back here, it has wheels on the back. So right here it has wheels, and what happens is you just pick up the front, you slide it forward, and you get those birds on new grass if you have the space. If you don't have the space, you could do something like this. Now, this is a very extreme case. This is our meat mansion, and that's a very, very extreme case. You could use a shed. You could do 2 or 3 birds at a time. We like to grow all of our birds at once, a whole year's worth of meat. Now, the feed. These birds will eat you out of house and home. If any of you have a son that's in sports, that's what these chickens are. They will eat non-stop. They eat all kinds of food. But the payoff is they will pack on weight very fast. So Cornish Cross chickens, in about 8 to 10 weeks, you're ready to go. You're ready to process them. You're ready to put them in the freezer, and you're going to get anywhere from 5 to 7 pounds of meat, depending on the how long you let them go, depending on them themselves, their genetics, how much they eat. Are they a cockerel? Are they a hen? Now, on the inverse, the same amount of time, the same 8 to 10 weeks, those quail are going to start laying eggs. So you can get protein from eggs, and those quail will lay eggs prolifically once they get started. Now, let's go back over to the quail and let's talk about eggs, and let's talk about a couple of other things that the quails benefit from that maybe the chickens don't. So let's go back over here. So we're talking about eggs, right? So it's crazy that, yes, in 2 months that these little guys start laying eggs. Now, the size of a quail egg, I think I already grabbed them today. Yeah, so let me see if there's any in here. I don't have any in here. Woo! But these little guys right here, they will produce an incredible amount of quail eggs for you to eat. Now, the quail egg is basically 3 to 1 with a chicken egg on size. So if you're gonna make an omelet, you're gonna need like 6 to 10 of them. Or if you're gonna make like chicken fried steak or something, you're gonna need a lot of them. But in 2 months, you've already got a good amount of eggs. Whereas the meat chickens, they don't lay eggs. I shouldn't say they don't. It's very rare and it takes way too long, and by then you're already having a lot of issues with the birds. I know there's exceptions to the rule with certain rare cases. So again, you have with quail, limited space, lots of eggs. Oh, and the other thing is when you have the eggs, you can get an incubator and you can start to self-breed. So you can start to self-pollinate, I guess, self-reproduce. What's the word I'm looking for here? Self-cultivate your own brood stock for the quail. So if you wanted to keep, like I said, that 1 to 4 ratio, maybe you have 1 male and 4 females, when they start laying, you can take those eggs, put them in an incubator, and then you can just continue the cycle. Whereas meat birds, you raise them for 8 to 10 weeks, then bam, they're in the freezer. But that may be a benefit to you because it's a shorter process. Whereas these are more of a fun, I like to give these for my girls, my daughters. It's more of a fun hobby / responsibility. They're small like they are, so they like that, but there's some give and takes there. So that's another positive for the quail that maybe the meat birds don't do, and that's egg production. Okay, another factor that I like about the quail, and it's a big one, I'm thinking of suburbia here. I'm thinking of people who live in the city limits or people that may live closer to a populated area and different rules and stuff, is noise level. Quail are very quiet. You can tell I've been standing here the whole time. That's them. That's how loud they are. Now, the roosters, they do, or the males, they make like this, I don't know, I'm not even going to attempt to sound like a quail call. I'll put one here. So that's what they sound like whenever they go off. Now, meat chickens, on the other hand, they're a little bit more vociferous. They're a little bit louder. They're a little bit louder. So, and what I mean by that is, especially when they're chicks, what'll happen is, and I guarantee we can come over here and do it, when they're chicks, any little bit of pain or discomfort or anything, they act like the world is ending. So let's go over here. I mean, even when you pick them up, so you can listen to them now. Let me get closer here so you can hear it. But so they have the typical chicken cheep, cheep, cheep sound, but when you pick one up, you hear it. See, anytime you move them, non-stop. And so what'll happen is, even at night, something happens, something crazy, anything, these chickens are going to be a little bit more loud. But if you're allowed to have chickens, they're not so loud that it's going to cause an issue, I promise. It's only when they're in pain, it's only when they're freaking out. Look at Louie. He's chomping at the bit to get to This is why we keep him in a chicken tractor, because I love that dog to death, but he will dine on them for sure. So anyway, noise level, quail, it's almost none. With chickens, there is an audible nuance that goes with them. Real quick, back to what I was talking about, space. I forgot the different options you have for quail. I said a dog crate. You can also have the stackable cages. I mean, you can raise a good amount of quail in a space about 6 to 8 foot wide and 6 to 8 foot tall. I mean, it ain't nothing for them to live in a space that small. But anyway, that's enough about the quail. I mean, we've been talking about them the whole time. So let's get down to, so now I want to talk about the processing side of things. When it comes to meat yield, Cornish Cross chickens are the winners by far. So the Cornish Cross chickens, like I said earlier, you're gonna get 5 to 7 pounds of meat once it's all said and done. And it depends on what their feed is, how much they're eating, lots of factors. But one thing's for sure, you will get way more meat from 30 to 50 chickens than you will from the quail. The quail, think of like fancy dinner appetizer, something like that. So you're gonna get, I mean, listen, you can eat 3 or 4 or 5 per person, but listen to what I'm saying. It takes 3 or 4 or 5 per person. So if you have like 10 birds, well, you know, 1 meal, you're done. But go back to how prolific they are. it doesn't take much to reproduce those 5 to 10, whereas the meat birds, it's literally a backyard grocery store, and you'll hear me say that a lot. We do 30 to 50 birds a year. So we used to leave the birds as whole chickens, and we just decided that the space required to do that, it just wasn't worth it. So what we do is we process them and we part them all out. So our freezers look like we just went to the grocery store and bought a ton of meat after processing day. We break them all the way down, and make sure you smash the subscribe button because we will do a video over processing day and how we process and package them. But I'm talking, you'll have the trays, you'll have the meat. Actually, let's go down here. Let me show you a couple of them real quick. Let's hop down here to one of our freezers. All right, so this is one of, admittedly, one of 3 freezers we have. This is actually just our beer fridge, but it does hold a lot of my stuff in there, such as turkeys and anything. Anyway, so when we get done, bam, this is what they look like. I'm talking packaged. This is a set of legs, 4 legs. And the benefit to doing it like this is you save so much space. So that's 3 thighs right there. Bonus. Thighs are my favorite cut of meat on a chicken. They yield the most to eat as well. But you get these nice packaged birds, and then that's 2 birds, that's 4 birds, that's 6 birds, that's 8 birds. So there you go. Look, there's 8 birds worth of chicken legs just right there alone. Now, our big deep freezers out in the garage have the most meat, but then this is a perfect example here. You can see, look at this is a whole chicken, right? So this is a whole chicken that we processed compared to a parted out chicken. So just for quick comparisons there, I have 3 trays to 1 whole chicken. This is purely a personal preference thing. It's just something that we decided that we wanted to do from now on. So we part our birds out. And again, you're gonna yield way more meat from the meat chickens. And pay attention when I say we do 30 to 50, which lasts us all year. Yes, 12 calendar months, and we eat a lot of chicken. Now, I'll be completely transparent. My wife likes to cook with the breast the most, so we run out of breasts usually, what?
I think I used the last one like the other day, so I mean maybe a month or 2. Like
so maybe 9 to 10 months.
Yeah.
So 9 to 10 months. I do separate the breast from the tender when you process your chickens, and we'll go into this later on, but there's a tender and then the breast lays over the tender. A lot of people keep those together. I do separate those because the tender does make good tenders, and then the breast, you can make all kinds of stuff with it. Like Shauna, she kills it in the kitchen. So
we should make some chicken tenders one day.
We should. If y'all want to see how we make our chicken tenders, drop in the comment section, and we'll do that for you. But I literally, dude, I store. Look at this turkey, turkey fan. I store all kinds of stuff in this freezer. But so closing out the thought on the meat and the benefits of the size and the yield and all that. If you're going strictly for meat sustainability, I would go with meat chickens. The quail are fantastic, but if you're going to raise quail for meat, just know that you're going to be in a cycle of incubate, raise, process, incubate, raise, process. Now, that process is actually very easy. It's not hard. Every quail you just saw out there, we incubated, we rose, we feed, we are going to process. We've done all that. It's a constant cycle. So if you're okay with that, and maybe if you only have a limited amount of space, then that's what you got to do. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing at all. Just know that you're going to be processing them more frequently. Whereas meat chickens, it's buy the chicks, raise the chicks for 8 to 10 weeks, process the chicks, you're done. See you next year. Sayonara. You can focus on other stuff. Some people like that, some don't. Now, if you really want to get into it, a lot of your friends and family are going to like these chickens. They're going to want to buy them from you. They're going to want to, oh, can I get a tray of whatever? Maybe you don't like the wings, and you can like sell all the wings, and there's some profit that you can buy the next year's bird, or maybe recoup some of the feed. The cost of feed is rising. It's way more expensive now than when we started 7 years ago doing our own meat birds. I won't lie to you, it's starting to tip the scales of how many birds do I need to raise for it to actually be profitable. But we do it for other reasons than that. We don't just do it for the profit. We do it for a whole myriad of reasons. You can probably assume why we do all that, and I'm not trying to ruffle feathers in this video. So we know where our meat comes from. We raise it. It's not medicated, nothing like that. Do you have a thought?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. So Shauna has a thought. What's your thought? She was looking at me like, I gotta talk. Okay, what is
I'm
it?
sorry. So when we first started doing them, I didn't think it was beneficial because I looked at the regular price of chicken and I thought that's what it was. And he told me, he was like, no, this is organic. So I looked at the price of organic chicken, which it is profitable if we do it that way. But I feel like some people might be like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's cheap. But
yeah, so the buzzwords you want to look for when comparing apples to apples is organic, free range, stuff like that.
Right.
And you'll notice that, the regular push out chicken is going to be, I mean, we're thinking like grocery store brand chicken is going to be cheaper. But when you look at the pasture raised stuff and all that, you're looking, I don't know offhand, I haven't looked in a while, but if I remember right, you're looking at like $8, $9, $10 a pound for those birds. And that's what we would compare these to. They're non-medicated, they're free range, they're all of those buzzwords that mean they're not pumped with a bunch of preservatives and stuff to keep them alive or anything like that. So that was a good point. That was really good. So the only thing you can't compare it is quail. There's no, I don't know of any commercially available quail. So
I think you can get an HEB.
You might be. We'll have to go look. We'll have to go see if you can get an HEB. But that's a great point she brought up. That's the comparable. So go to your local grocery store, find the organic or free range, or it's got some, it'll be in a different packaging. It'll be at the end of the freezer aisle because they don't, or the coolers or wherever they keep them, because they don't sell them as much as they sell that readily available push out meat. That's what I call it. It's just quick. So anyway, fantastic. All right, let's go back up to the quail. Let's talk a little bit more about them and some more chicken facts. All right, let's walk up to these quail. Now, she was just saying something else. What were you saying?
It's about the weight.
We got to walk and talk.
I can't multitask. Like the weight of it. The other day I did have to go buy some breasts because we're out. And usually when we package our breasts, we do 2 per package, and that feeds our whole family.
Yep.
But I noticed when I was separating the meat, 2 per was like 1.5 of ours. Yeah. So then I had to put 3 per pack when I was separating it from the grocery store.
Okay. So what she's saying is the size. The size of the meat is also better. So it's a healthier bird. It's not rushed along. And I'll be honest with you, there's been years that we get to that 8 to 10 week mark, and we get to that 8 week mark and we look at the birds and we're like, they could go another week. They could go 2 more weeks.
Especially over winter. I feel like we shiver a little bit. Yeah,
so that's a good point. The climate and the season depends a ton on the meat yield as well. You've heard me say before, I don't like to overwinter animals. It's never my favorite just because it's harsh for them and it's hard for us, and the financial responsibility as well increases. Specifically on the Cornish Cross chickens, you're trying to get them to put on weight. And a lot of people don't think about this, and I didn't for the first 2 years. During the winter time, those birds, if not properly heated, they're going to shiver. They're going to shiver, and what does shivering do? It burns calories, aka they don't put on as much weight. The very first round of birds we did at the tail end of winter, and those were some of the smallest birds I've ever raised. And I did a lot of research, and I've done a lot of research since then. And it sounds crazy, but the shivering helped them burn calories and keep the weight off. So that's why in our last video, I was so adamant about keeping them hot, putting all the heat measures in. That's why we built the building. That's why we've done all this stuff, is purely so these birds get nice and fat. We like them thick, baby. We want some big backs. We don't want some little guys. But that's why we're so adamant about that. And now, if you want to get into this, I'll be honest with you, spring and fall are probably your best times to raise meat chickens. You're going to want to raise them, in my opinion, April to May-ish, April to June would be good, because you're getting that springtime where it's not so frigid at night, but it's still kind of nice. And then on the inverse, September to November is probably your best in the fall. We have every year except for this year, we always get our birds on September 11th. I apologize for the date, but that's what it is. We get the birds on September 11th, and then we process them late October, early November. And those birds are the healthiest. They have the least the smallest attrition rate, and they have the most yeet meal. Whoa, whoa, yeet, yeet, skirt, yeet. Anyway, they have the most meat yield out of every other time of the year that we do it. Now, speaking of temperature, quail. Quail are fantastic in climate, and what I mean by that is these jokers, like, we're in Texas, okay? It gets to like 100 100 plus, 105 plus here. The quail, it doesn't bother them. They are so hardy in heat and cold, both ends of the spectrum. They are so just climate tolerant. It's fantastic. I mean it. And it's why I think that raising quail is a really good benefit if you're super new to this, because they're really hard to kill. I'm not gonna lie to you. They don't like a meat chicken. You get it wrong for like 3 days and they're out. But meat chicken, or specifically Coturnix quail. We're talking about Coturnix quail here. So specifically Coturnix quail, there's a bunch of different breeds, but if you're thinking about meat and you're thinking about feeding my family, she just wants to be in the video, doesn't she? Here, come on.
So you haven't talked about me yet?
Come on. There we go. She was supposed to be Thanksgiving dinner like 3 years ago, and she's not. Look at that fan though. Nice fan. All right, anyway, back to the quail. I don't even know where I was at. Oh, Coturnix quail. These are specifically Coturnix quail. There's a bunch of different breeds there, but if you're looking for availability, speed, growth rate, survivability, all that stuff, and meat yield and chickens, or not chickens, and eggs and all that, Coturnix quail is what we're talking about. It's the one you're going to be Googling about. It's the one you're going to look at. There's a bunch of sublines to them. Like we have some, like this one right here. I forget the feather pattern, but you got like this one right here. She's very pretty, very beautiful colorway. We have the one I was holding earlier, which is solid pearl white. But back to the topic, climate. They are fantastic in the climate. Like I said, they barely eat any food, they barely drink any water, so the cost associated with raising them is pretty minuscule. What you laughing at?
Keep jumping.
Oh yeah, that's your thing.
I have one.
What you got?
What about the smell?
The smell. Oh, that's
these
good.
Don't really smell it. I feel like the chickens don't smell that much right now, but like when we do it over the summer, and it's hot. Like, oh man.
Yeah. So the smell. That's a really, really good point, and one that we should definitely talk about. So oh man, you hit the nail on the head with that one. So the smell. Quail definitely don't smell that bad. They don't smell that bad at all. Luckily, these quail, if you look around, this is our chicken pen. So the quail, their turds, their droppings, they go straight down into the dirt, and the chickens are always down here scratching, and they cover them. But the smell is almost non-existent. Now, if you're in a smaller area, they make a lot of these quail. Oh my gosh, they make a lot of these quail cages with trays underneath. So up here, our rabbit, we have a catch tray underneath our rabbit, and the reason for that is rabbit manure, rabbit pellets are one of the only direct sow turds in the animal kingdom. In other words, I can take the rabbit turds, I can just scoop them up and put them right into my garden. Chicken and quail turds are really hot, and what I mean by that is it'll burn. There's a lot of think of it as acid, just for lack of better terms. They're just a really hot manure. You don't want to add it directly. You got to compost it first. But back to what I was saying, a lot of these cages have trays underneath, and if you're changing that tray once a week, dude, you won't never hardly smell the quail. Now, on the inverse, there's 2 ways to watch smells when it comes to meat chickens. You can do what's called the deep mulch method, or you can do the chicken tractor. And so the chicken tractor, as you saw, it simply moves the birds every day so that their turds are on your grass. And I'll tell you right now, it makes the grass beautiful in the springtime. But you move the chickens off of their turds. That's why you move them daily, so they get fresh grass to eat, and so that they're not burning their breasts with the ammonia that's in the turds on the ground. The other method, voila, is what you see right here. Now, take a deep sniff in, Shauna. These birds have been in here for 2 weeks now. What does it smell like?
It doesn't smell like anything.
It smells like pine shavings, because this is what's known as the deep mulch method. So what you do is, that turkey's loud.
I know.
So what you do with the deep mulch method is you take and you put about a 4 to 6 inch layer of mulch down, which is what we did here. Pine shavings. Try to go with dustless, or the smallest amount of dust that you can get, and the reason being, the dust can actually give them a cough or the sniffles. But anyway, you layer this up really deep with pine shavings or any shavings or mulch of some sort, and then you come in here, literally, there's 2 ways to do this. for the first week or two, what I do is I come in here and you literally turn it. Now look at all that fresh bedding on top now. See all that fresh bedding on top? And so what happens is, it's a microorganism science experiment. And anyone that knows me knows I love science. So basically, the organisms start to break down the feces and the organic matter, and this is getting real scientific, probably more than y'all need to know. Long story short, doesn't stink. It keeps the smell down. You put that mulch on it. Now, once you've turned it 3 or 4 times, if she looks behind her, you'll see we have fresh bags of shavings there. Then we'll come in and we'll add a layer of shavings, or we'll take our wheelbarrow, we'll scoop out half, we'll add half, we'll keep it at 4 to 6 inches. Those are just several options that you have. But yes, smell is a very big factor, and I won't lie to you, meat birds stink. They straight up stink. Quail, almost non-existent. Now, if you let the quail go and get too bad, like if you have those trays underneath and you wait like 3 weeks, then yes, obviously there's going to be some smell because it's turds. There's a bunch of droppings in there. But as long as you're changing it like once a week and they're on a healthy diet, quail almost no smell. Meat chickens, pretty good amount of smell. So, since we're in here, what do you think about the growth, Shauna? Here, you take the mic. Let's walk around. Tell us what you think about the chickens so far. Do you want to get in here or no? I'll walk around. You just point out. So, she was in observation. What were you saying?
I said that you can tell there's like bigger ones. Like at first, when you were culling them, you were picking out different ones, and I couldn't really make a difference. But now that I'm looking at them, I can see like which ones are bigger than the others.
Right.
So maybe we need to do another cull soon.
Yeah. So another cull is coming soon. Don't get me. We're actually this weekend. We're doing another cull yet again. So it is good. That means they're growing good. It means your efforts are working, ma'am. All right. So, what is my final thoughts on it? So if you want quick eggs, easy processing, quiet, quick processing, pretty small maintenance bill, and pretty small smell, I'm thinking you want to get on some quail. But if you want big birds, really fast, lots of meat, save a ton of money on your grocery bill, you're going to want to look into the Cornish Cross chickens. But my final verdict is get both. Seriously, do both. Do yourself a service and do both of them. And I say that out of a place of excitement, because if you're even watching this video, you're beginning your journey to what some would call self-sufficiency. You're beginning your homestead journey, whatever it is. Both are awesome. As you can see, we have both, and that's for a reason. I like both. They both have their own applications. They both have their place at your home. But just keep that in mind. Quick eggs, low smell, low maintenance, low feed bill. Quail, lots of meat, really fast, kind of dirty, really beneficial. Cornish Cross. No eggs. Guys, I really hope you picked something up today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, drop in the comment section below, please. I love to answer all your questions. If you have video ideas or have topics you want discussed, again, drop them in the comment section. We'd love to have you. Please consider subscribing. This is the beginning of our journey of a long journey ahead. So I would love to have y'all on board with us. Hope today's video was beneficial. Check out this video where we talk about starting our chicks and doing the first cull. Smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our uploads. And guys, it doesn't take much to make a big difference. We'll catch you on the next one. See you later.